Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the People's Choice Podcast. This is episode 43 of my interview section. I have a special guest here. I'm here with Will. He has his own podcast. It's Black Love Renaissance. It's an amazing podcast on all platforms. So you're also known as, the handsome guy named Will. For your audience, so they know. So let me give you a clap, introduction.
I got you.
So Will, I got a lot of questions to ask because when I seen when you were talking, when I made the post on the podcast group and then you sent me a link, I'm like, Black Love Renaissance. That's interesting because at least where I'm from right now in North Carolina, seems like a lot of people don't, I want to say have the answer, but it's just, I think that's a topic that a lot of people could really gravitate to. But before we get into all that, I like for people to get to know the person behind, hosting or, for you founding and hosting your own show. So where are you from, Will? And what's your upbringing like?
Baltimore. You said what's my what like?
Yeah, upbringing in Baltimore.
Oh, two-parent household, lived on the west side all my life. It was pretty dope. I mean, I survived this long. I'm 38, so that's a that's a whole stat in itself.
True that. That's what's up, man. And then after you just graduating and getting into the real world, what was that like? That transition from basically being a young kid and then teenager to going to adulthood.
Going into adulthood, I was a father at 17, so it was like I was automatically thrusted into it. So it was like I didn't have time to actually just explore life. It was just workforce, take care of your daughter. You know what I mean? So I was lost for a couple of years. I ain't gonna lie, I was really lost. Like I said, I was trying to learn myself, live life, but I had this big monumental responsibility at a young age. And certain people don't understand how much pressure that is for a young Black male. So it was just go to work, take care of your responsibilities. And it's it's still things I need to learn in life before I just get set in doing just this. So I was just all over the place. And then when I turned 22, yeah, I think my math is correct, I went and got my CDLs and I just been rocking ever since with that.
What's up, man? And big shout out to you, man, for stepping up, because I mean at 17, I'm 26 right now, so I mean at 17 I couldn't imagine that pressure of having a child, and and especially in our culture, the stereotypical oh man, young Black dad, they're gonna run away, go to the store, get that milk, and never come back. But I'm glad that you stepped up, and you did your thing, man. I'm real proud of you on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So what inspired you to start podcasting?
Podcasting just by itself was just me and a couple people I grew up with. We was basically on some, hey, everybody else is doing it, why can't we do it? So it was three of us. It was me, my homeboy, and my homegirl, and we just came together. It was let's do a podcast. We all got these good personalities, and we kind of mesh, but we clash just enough to make it entertaining. So I went out and brought all this equipment, everything I have now is what I brought for podcasting. We did one episode and then it just didn't work out from there. Scheduling, nobody wanted to take the lead. I'm look, man, I'm the technology guy. Every piece of equipment we got, I'm responsible for it. Somebody needs to take the lead and say, all right, put the schedule together, put the topics together. My homeboy, he just wanted to have fun. So he was just look, all I want to do is just tell me when to show up. I'm gonna show up, sit down, and I'm gonna talk my stuff. Can we curse or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. 100% free. We on the internet. No restrictions.
I'll never ask that. But yeah, he just wanted to sit down and talk his shit. So I was I can respect that. He was open in front for it. So we put it all on my homegirl, and she felt like she was the only one doing something. And I'm yo, I'm doing something you can't do. Mm-hmm. I already sat down. I literally researched all my podcast equipment, hours and hours a day. That's why I have a Rodecaster Pro. That's why I had a certain mic. I have a mic stand. I have so much stuff that I took the time and researched piece by piece, from the cameras I use, everything, cords, everything.
The details, the little things, they don't even realize it.
Right. Nobody else took the time to do it. So it's like, I got to handle this. I got to learn this stuff. Nobody was teaching me this. I'm literally sitting at home just playing with buttons and settings, and I'm calling people on the phone. Hey, how do I sound? Oh, how I sound now. So it's like, I got my own stuff to worry about. You do all the important. Like that's the most important stuff is what you have. You had the most important role. She didn't feel that way. We argued about it. Podcast died. That was it. That was the one episode. I still have it and never put it out. I don't know if I'm going to put it out because I don't even talk to her on the phone anymore.
I think you should probably save it, and maybe down the line, like you could do like maybe like a throwback retro type, like I hear from the beginning, because I did that with mine. Well, actually, I talked, but I haven't really put it out because I'm embarrassed. Because before, like how you were talking about doing the proper research, I did that after, but that was with my second podcast. This is what I'm doing now. But my first ever podcast back in 2017, I literally used my phone. I was recording from my phone like this, thinking it's gonna get somewhere, and not at all.
Right.
But I mean, that's great though that you took the time, you took it serious. I think that's what a lot of people, they think with podcasting, they think that it's as easy as getting a camera, maybe getting a ring light if they think about it, get a random mic and just start talking. And it ain't like that. You got planning, you got equipment, people if you're doing co-hosts and all that. What was that? What was the name of that one? Oh yeah, what was the name of that podcast anyway? I know you say you put it out though.
Hey, what was the name? I think it was Baltimore After Dark or something like that.
I like that. Hey, that might be something, maybe something in the future, a resurgence.
Possibly. I was supposed to be relocating to Georgia. Some life happened, so now I'm stuck again in Baltimore. So we'll see. Maybe I can bring it back or something.
So with Black Love Renaissance, sorry, where did that name come from, and where did that all what inspired you to start doing that?
All right, so the name came from me just kicking around names. So the backstory is, in the midst of us three original putting podcasts together, I say, look, I sat him down and I said, look, check this out. I see how podcasting is and I see where it can go. What we need to do is we need to use the podcast we're creating and use it as a commercial. I told him, if you want to sell a bag of dirt, use the podcast as the vehicle to commercial or commercial for whatever you want to sell. I say, look, I got the equipment, it's mobile. We don't have to be stuck anywhere. I said, what we can do is we make this collaborative podcast and we each individually make a podcast, and we can use all of our fans and circle them around. So everything is getting built at the same time. I was like, whatever you want to do, think of it now, build it out, structure it, and we'll work on getting it done. So I sat back and said, well, what can I do for my own podcast? And I just like literally just went and just got quiet and just was thinking. So I was thinking, all right, I'm already sitting around talking about nothing. Honestly, me personally, I hate podcasts like that. They just sit around and talk about nothing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the radio station's for. They just sit around and talk about nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean like no celebrities thought. And all that gossip and stuff. So I'm like, what can I do that makes some type of impact? And then as I was sitting there quiet thinking, my daughter came to me and started talking to me. And I just looked in her face and I was like, boom, that's it. I got to make a podcast for her. Well, I actually have two daughters, but at the time it was just my oldest that came to me talking to me. But I was like, I need to make a podcast for them. And when I thought about it, their mother is in a very serious relationship. They live together and everything. So I'm like, damn, she's showing them up front and close what a relationship should look like between a man and a woman. I'm not doing that on my side because I've been single for a very long time, and I don't bring women I court or date around my daughters because I don't know if they stand. And my daughters are they miniature versions of me. They're little mini introverts and they're a little shy. So it's like I got to make them uncomfortable to get comfortable around people. But what if that person doesn't stay? I made them do all that for nothing. So I'm like, well, how can I put these relationships in front of them? Podcast. I'm gonna go around interviewing Black couples. Now me and my daughters can sit down and listen to the interviews, and then now they're getting examples, but they're getting it from me, and we can sit and talk about it. and I'm doing my share. Because with my philosophy on parenting is you only going to do one or two things. You're going to show them who to be or who not to be. That's it. I keep it simple.
Real talk right there.
So I can't show them anything if I'm not showing them anything. You get what I'm saying? I know that sounded crazy.
No, I got it completely though.
Yeah, so it's like that was the initial, well, the second thing, because I figured I just needed a podcast for myself. But the second thing to start the podcast was my daughters.
That's what's up, man. It's amazing how kids can just motivate you doing things like, because if someone would have told me even like, 10 years ago or whatever, that, I'll be doing podcasts or even yourself, we'd probably be like, what the heck is podcasting? Or like,
right.
But it's just amazing the people you can meet, the opportunities you can bring. And, I love your artwork too with your logo for Black Love Renaissance. And I even see
back there.
Yeah, I even see, you got the shirt there. You got merch and stuff you selling?
Oh, all right. So that's a long story. I'm gonna condense this story real small, real short. So I'm a part of a group called the Black Podcast Club. And at the time when I first started, before I even put my podcast out, I joined the club. And we was talking about how we was going to build out websites and all this. And I'm like, all right, cool. My gift to the club was to help drive traffic to the site, because it's literally a working business. Like it's on pause right now, but at the time it was being built out as a business. So I said, all right, my gift to the club is to help drive traffic to the site. I will put all my merch on the site. So all my merch is sitting on the site, but the site is frozen right now. Everything's on pause with the Black Podcast Club. So all my merch that I was selling was on the site. So I had no merch right now because I gave them all my files and everything, and I got to get it all back, and I got to create my own site. So I'm like, I'll wait. I'm still focusing on building the audience. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
Gotcha.
So no, I don't have merch.
It's coming soon.
It's coming.
That's what's up. So with you interviewing many different Black couples, what's one thing that you would say that's very common, like with all, because I know every relationship is different, but what's the one thing or multiple things I should say that's common in the Black relationship or in Black love, I should say?
I'm gonna say between all the ones I've come across, understanding. I'm gonna say understanding. Like they all understand. What's the new saying? They understood the assignment.
Yeah,
like
I was just talking to my dang sister about that, man. She was blasting that song, and I said, "I'm tired of this damn song."
I didn't even know it was a song.
This morning, it happened this morning. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, "Wow, I can't escape it."
Yeah. I think for the most part, they understand that every relationship is unique, so they kind of have to have their own set of rules for them versus what society tells you what a relationship is. And it's very nuanced. So if you're not in the frame of mind to recognize it, you won't see it. Because I purposely ask surface level questions just to make it easier, because 9.5 times out of 10, I'm not interviewing people who are used to having microphones in their face, being on camera, even talking about their relationship openly. So I gotta ride the surface, and then sometimes we'll dip down and get a little deeper in certain things and then come right back up. And it was purposely done like that.
Gives that real feeling, Yeah.
Instead
of just being scripted. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't give them the questions beforehand. Like everything is off the top. Well, I mean, I have my list of questions, but they don't know what they are.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I try to switch them up every episode. It's kind of hard because I got to flow with them, so it's kind of hard to switch it. But sometimes, because I've been interviewing for a while, I can kind of switch where I want to now on the fly.
And to piggyback off that question, from all the couples that you've interviewed, what is the one thing that you believe that tears down a relationship?
Ooh, I mean, statistically, it's finances, but I think it's communication. I think it's communication because another thing I've noticed that couples tend to not talk about money until deep in the relationship. Like I had one couple, they didn't talk about finances until after they were married.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit, how did y'all do that? But then I thought about it. they had some level of communication
Mhm.
that you can ride on when things get hard. And that goes back to that understanding. They understood each other. They might not have understood necessarily how much money that person was bringing in, but they understood what the person did on the back end. So it was like, all right, it's not really a topic because I see that they're neat with their money. So I don't need to know how much is coming in because I know what they do once they get it. So it was like, all right, cool. But that's communication.
That's, I feel communication is so key to a relationship, because if you guys aren't on the same page or don't even know how to communicate with each other, it's not going to end well. That's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
So with you starting your podcast, how long you been podcasting for now?
Okay, let me see. I've been podcasting since November 2019, but the podcast has only been out since July 2020.
So since July 2020. What episode, or I mean, I know it's gonna be kind of hard. I ask a lot of podcasts I have the show because it's like acting pick your children. But what's one of your favorite episodes that you recommend to like new viewers or to even like my peeps that is gonna check your podcast out for the first time?
Well, they say your best episode is your first episode, just because it's your first episode. And typically, when people discover you, they start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, my favorite episode is it's a toss up between 1 and 6. And I say that because my first episode is with one of my longtime friends, and me, him, and his wife, we actually talk on the phone all together. So like I'll call him to talk, and next thing you know, I'm on speakerphone and his wife in the conversation. But we can talk about anything, and she ain't tripping. So I'm like, damn, that's cool. Like I want that. You know what I'm saying? So that episode, and it's a toss, like I said, between 1 and 6. And 6 is I went against my rule because I didn't know. My rule is I don't want to interview any famous couples.
Mm-hmm.
So number 6, Dave Anderson and Janae Anderson. He's famous, but he's famous to famous people.
Gotcha.
Like he's been on Breakfast Club 3 times already. He's been on what is it? I want to say Fortune, but it's not that. Forbes. He's been on Forbes magazine, Black Entrepreneur magazine. He got 18 #1 Amazon best-selling books. But I didn't know all that until I started interviewing. Like I did my research the day before I interviewed him. Now I was like, man, I was so nervous. Like, so it's between 1 and 6.
I'm gonna have to check that out. And I also wanted to say I really liked your intro too. I was checking out episode 1 when you first sent it, and then like previous episodes, episodes after that.
Yeah.
Who did the intro for you?
I always get her name wrong. It's Ayana Maria.
Yeah,
she's a
nice name.
Yeah. She's on episode 2. I want to say 2. Her and her girlfriend. She's an artist. I had damn, how did I meet her? I don't know. I just came across her, and no, my homegirl from the other podcast. Mm-hmm. She found her on Instagram, and she was giving out guitar lessons. So I just randomly checked her out, and then one day she just posted, was like, "Hey, let's record a song. I charge you X amount of dollars." And I was like, "Word? Let me hit her up." Mm-hmm. And so what I did was, I don't know if people catch it. I don't like telling it because I want people to catch it, but I'll give it to you. So if you listen to the intro, it's all song titles about love. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I just sat down and just wrote a whole bunch of song titles, and then I gave it to her, and she put it in a row and then sung it.
Yeah, I like that. I love that. It has like that acoustic, like guitar feel too. Yeah,
she played it.
Wow,
she did everything. Nice. Yeah. She played the bass and the acoustic guitar. That's what she does. She plays acoustic.
Okay. A big shout out to her. I really did like that. So I got a question now I'll ask you about like couples, because love is such a big topic in today's world. It's always been not just today's society, but just in general. But how do you feel about like the marriage rate, especially in the Black community for Black love?
Me personally, I think it's underrepresented. I think a lot of us run to statistics and not really the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say filler, but I don't think we're exposed to it enough. So we look at statistics and think that's end all be all. Well, I know a lot of thriving couples. I mean, I can't get them on the podcast, but I know a lot of thriving couples. So I think I mean, even like media wise, you don't, we don't have TV shows like we did back in the days when we had the Cosbys and all this, like My Wife and Kids. Like, we got Blackish, and then what we got after that? We don't have anything. So I think it's really misrepresented, and I'm here to try to fill a gap. I mean, even though we got the Black Love TV show, you know, I don't really like talking about it, but you know.
Why is that?
Because honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. And I literally just had this debate the other day. I didn't know it existed because I don't watch regular TV. Like, I Netflix and I stream everything. So I didn't know the show existed when I created the podcast. I didn't find out the show existed until I was on my 4th interview. And I was just like, oh, damn it. Now people going, and a lot of people, when I talk to them about the podcast and I introduce it to them, oh yeah, this is like the TV show. And I'm like, no, it's nothing like the TV show. And somebody argued that I can't say that because I never seen the TV show. And I'm like, well, I say that because intentionally I don't watch it, so I don't copy it. I'm a creative. So I might take inspiration from something they're doing and implement it in my show. And now my show is just like their show, and to a certain extent. So I purposely stay away from it.
Gotcha.
Did I answer your question though? I just
went
off a tangent, did.
No, it answered the question. Because I actually I go through that even a little bit with my podcast, because my podcast is the People's Choice Podcast, but people think of People's Choice Awards, or they think of like People Magazine or something. Like, I remember one time I was on Twitter and I got tagged in like 3 different things, and I was like, "What's this?" And it was like, "Yeah, I just got selected for a People's Choice this like award." I said, I wrote, I was like, tweeted back, I was like, "Congratulations, but wrong podcast or wrong thing." Yeah,
I'd have rolled off of that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I did a little, but not as much, you know, because people, they'll check it out, but oh wait, this ain't what I was looking for. Who's this dude? But
I mean, hey, promotion is promotion.
Sure, that all promotion is good promotion. The way you look at it.
Right. I mean, if you really think about it, you might can do a collab and get a bag off of it.
Right. I'm gonna keep my options open. You know, I don't ever rule that out.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. If Black Love contacted me, I might have to sit down and rock with them. I mean, if I can be an extension and still do my own thing, but they, you know, they pay for some things. Hey.
and that's the amazing power of the internet. Like, you never know who's going to see this and put it out there. So someone, maybe like an exec or maybe a friend of the show, they may see this and see you and reach out. So that's why I love just being a podcaster, because like, I have people. I actually see my Spotify thing. I know I'm going off top a little bit, but
you good.
The wrap up where it was like 35 episodes this year and in 3 countries and up 475%. And I was just like, wow, this is cool. And I'm like, just thinking about like, dang, you know, different countries are listening to me. I'm like, it just blows me away, man.
Yeah.
But back to your show. So I know we talked about marriage, but another thing that I think that people should talk about too, or I know with you having multiple guests on there, if they touched on this, mental health in the Black community. Like, with all your guests, was that really discussed, or did they not really talk about it too much, or do you think it's that also a key that could basically keep a Black couple together?
Okay, so towards the end of the interview, I asked about marriage counseling. So one couple said they went to marriage counseling on top of seeing their own therapist separately. And it was like one of them introduced to the other. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it kind of became a side conversation. So it has come up. But I think that's dope. And I'm trying to remember each conversation individually. So it normally comes up when I talk about marriage counseling and couples counseling. They'll branch off into, I see my own therapist, and I got them to go to see their own therapist, and that kind of helped us ease into the couples counseling. Because, you know, when you get married, you got to go through counseling before the pastor actually marry you. It's a whole little process. So they was like, doing their own type of therapy helps them go into the couples counseling and actually get more out of it because they're already accustomed to sitting down, talking to someone and putting their problems out. I'm like, oh, it's kind of dope. Oh, and so, all right, so I'm on break right now. Like I've been on break for like 3 months. But this is my second break in my podcasting journey. The first break, I had a lot of things going on. I should have went and seek therapy at the time, but I'm old school. I'm just sit in the corner. I'm gonna figure it out. That's just how I am. That's me personally. I don't tell anybody else to do it. That's how I get through life.
I was just gonna say. I was really just about to say that. I was going to say there's a lot of couples, like, are they more open to therapy, or do they basically have that old school mentality, or the stigma is, Black family or Black, couples, like, we'll get through together. I don't want no one else in my business or our business, like, did you experience a lot of that, or are you experiencing more couples actually going to therapy and talking it out? Or marriage counseling, I should say.
No, they're actually a lot of couples are open to it. I mean, it's like it's not a stigma to it anymore. It's like it was maybe 5 to 10 years ago, and that's what I was bringing up the point with me. I just want to get the point out because it was the whole point of that. So when I took my first break, I just went cold for 6 months. Like I just went silent. I wasn't doing anything. Like I said, I had a whole bunch of stuff I needed to deal with, but I didn't put anything out. And I lost a lot of listeners. So I ain't start back over from 0, but I started back over from like 35-40% of my listenership. So now when you go to listen to my podcast, it's a different structure while I'm on break. So I just interview one person at a time versus couples, just so I wouldn't have that big gap of nothing happening again.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to confuse people. But in the single interviews, I bring that up, therapy and all that, because it's just going to come up. I don't know why, but I guess because it's a hot thing right now. Not to say it's a trend, but it's like it's on the forefront for Black people now.
Yeah,
like we're actually having these conversations randomly. Like you would talk about the football game, people are talking about therapy. So it comes up in my single interviews more than it does the couples. But I have several couples that talk about it.
And I'm glad
to bring that back around.
No, that's good, man. Because I was gonna say, like, mental health is extremely important. I feel like that, other than communication, is what can kill couples, and not just couples, but themselves. If you let it. And I applaud anybody that go ahead and take care of that, or even if they have to take a break. Because I took a break myself from podcasting. Wasn't quite as long, like 6 months. I think the first time I did it was like 2 weeks. But I rushed myself way too early. So then I took another break, and that lasted about 2 or 3 months. And I did lose some subscribers on my YouTube. I lost some listeners. Like my average dropped from Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But now that I'm back in the groove, because I really just had to remind myself, and actually talked to a really good friend of mine, so shout out to you, Ruth, if you see this. She reminded me basically, like, why am I doing this? Because I was getting caught up in the views. I was getting caught up in the listens, the download, instead of realizing, like, why am I doing this? Like, because I love it, not because, whoever listened to me, like the views, like, because the show did so well starting off. And before I know, I'm trying to top it. And then when it's not topping it and I'm going down a little bit, I'm like, so I'm putting all this pressure on me. And I know I'm going off on me, but that's part of my mental, part of my mental and just the break. And I feel like that if all podcasters are listening to this, that is very important to me. Like, I know a lot of people would say, stay consistent. And you can stay consistent and consistently drop dope podcasts, but you do have to take a break for yourself. If you're not, it's going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. I got a question for you, though. I just it's something you said, and this was actually a topic. I don't like saying it, but I'm going to just say Chatty House. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You got, but it was a topic on Chatty House, and I was asked, do I love podcasting? I want to know why you love podcasting before I tell you what my answer to that is.
Okay, that's going to be my next question to ask you.
I'm an interviewer too, dog.
Exactly. We think alike. But with me, I love podcasting because it's just like I just feel so free. Like,
Mm.
I really want this to really be something. Like I get excited podcasting because like I have a job where I'm working 10, 12 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, and I'm dog tired, got other stuff I do. But when I get in front of these cameras, like that light going, like all that drain feeling is gone. And I'm just focused on the conversation. Like I love knowledge. I love reaching different people, talking to them. Like I've had so many different guests, but I feel like some of them are like friends, even like on a brother or sister level now, just from talking and learning them, learning their life. And just what podcasting can bring. Like a lot of people think when you start podcasting, you making like buku bread, you making money. And it's like, nah, unless you had a name already and then you did podcasting, then yeah, you'll probably make some money because you already got like your fan base and sponsors or whatever coming to you. But like it's not like that when you first starting off. And
Goddamn right.
I tell and I tell people it's not really about the money. It's just freedom, like just being a creative, like you mentioned before. Like you start letting those creative, juices flow, and just me like communicating with people, talking to people. I watched this guy, Chris Van Vliet, big fan of his. One of the most positive, nicest dudes that you could probably ever run into. And this dude already had a career before podcasting. He was a 4-time Emmy winner. He hosts a bunch of he hosts a bunch of talk shows where he interviewed people like The Rock, Cena, Vin Diesel, Angelina Jolie, all sports. He had all these big actors, actresses, and professional wrestlers and fighters on the show. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, man, like I would love to have that. Like just having all these people that people admire, that they love in different fields, but just having a chance to just have a conversation with them and learning, like, what inspired them, like what got them to that point. I love the journey. I'm obsessed with really the journey of people because the average person ain't a podcast host. It seems like nowadays the podcast is so big, but the average person isn't a podcaster, or the average person ain't going to be like an Arnold Schwarzenegger or a Vin Diesel, Rock, or whatever. So I like to learn, what did you go through? What broke you through? Let's say the concrete. You became that rose out the concrete. Like, and just learning. And it's crazy. It's like a lot of those guys and females, like the stuff they've been through, the obstacles, how many times they were ready to just give up and never did. Like, so I get inspired by their stories. I know my answer's a little long, but that's why I love podcasting. Yeah, true that. That's why I love podcasting. Just the journey, just learning, and then the doors is open too. Like I've talked to actresses, to actors, to models, to pageantist people from other podcasters like yourself and many others, and different people in different countries. So it's amazing to me. I know you can probably hear the passion in my voice. Oh, damn, they want to shed a tear.
Nah, I love it. I love it. Because my answer is the opposite. I don't love podcasting. I got to be honest. I don't love podcasting. I think because my situation is, it's just me. If I had a team, I probably would. But it's so much work before and after the pod that sometimes I just like, I hate this. Like, not hate it, but like I really don't like this. Like you said, as soon as them lights come on, that record button turn a different color, I'm on and popping. I love it. I'm loving it. I'm loving that moment. But as soon as I stop it, I know how much work it takes on the back end.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I love what podcasting affords me. Like you say, meeting new people, putting yourself in, different circles, and it's like the doors just open up to new worlds. So I love that. I love that I can reach, like you say, my podcast is playing in 13 different countries right now. Like that is amazing to me. Like, yo, it's people listening to me. Well, not even me, but just I got to take the credit because it's my stuff.
Well, yeah, of course,
it's my shit. Yeah. So, but they're going on this journey with me on places I've never been, I've never knew existed, continents I've never stepped foot on. Like cities in America, like I forgot what the count is. It's like really high. It's like maybe 300 plus cities just in America. It's like, yo, I've never even been to these places. So that's what I love about it. But podcasting itself, I haven't got there yet because it's just so much front end and back end work. Podcasting itself, if I could literally just sit down, just like I'm doing now, and I ain't got to worry about nothing that I turn this off, yeah, I think I would love it. but because it's all me, like I'm the host, I'm the creator, I'm the producer, I'm the videographer, like I'm the editor. Like I don't do any marketing.
The PR guy you got marketing there.
I don't even do it. I don't do it. Like my marketing is literally. Hold on. I'll show you. This is my only marketing material. A business card.
Hey,
with my info in the back.
At the start, you know.
But the dope thing about it is, I've done all that off of passing out business cards. I don't know how people in Italy know about my podcast when I talk to people personally, because my job, I don't tell people I work at, but my job puts me like I'm always outside and I'm always moving. So I go to about 20 to 30 office buildings a day. So that gives me exposure to people outside. So yeah, if I see somebody and I see them watching YouTube at their desk, I'm asking, you listen to podcasts? Oh yeah, you should check mine out. What's it about? And I tell them we have a conversation. Sometimes that conversation might last for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Now they're like, oh, I like him. Let me see what he really got going on. Some people just like, oh, thank you, and sit the card to the side, and I keep going. So I know they're not technically going to listen. But then the person that actually has a conversation with me, I know they're going to listen. I know they're going to tell a couple family members. So I'm thinking maybe, it's a spider web. I just put my card in the web, and now spiders from all over the place come in and check it out. Yep. Probably a bad analogy, but we're gonna roll with it.
It's all good. I get it completely. And when you said that, you have me thinking like, oh damn, yeah, there's parts of podcasts that could be annoying. Like, when you don't have your own team and you are the team, because I'm the same way, and people probably won't even know it. But yeah, it's very stressful being a podcaster, because
it is.
When that light's on, everything's good. But as soon as it's done, now you gotta think, all right, now I gotta, let this, well, for me, I do video, so I gotta let this convert over. Then I gotta put it in my software, edit some things, tag things that part of, the marketing, tag and sharing, hope I can get an advertisement for it. If I can't do that, I'm just gonna push it out myself. Then you think about equipment, you gotta get equipment, lighting, writing down questions, updating here if you don't want to stay the same. Then even me, like my background, I got upgraded some more and try to keep my questions fresh. And so now when he's running down, I'm like, man. But I think I know my love for it over, just overweighs the nitty gritty. But yeah, that nitty gritty, that's where it separates, I think, from the really great podcasters and the ones that podcast for like a hobby. Now, if you're doing it for a hobby, you can get away with the minimum and just be fine, because you're not doing it because you want to see where this can really take you. You just want to do it, just be doing it. But if you're doing it because you love it, or you love the opportunities and then the meeting people, you're gonna put yourself out, like putting your business card, like that's helping out tremendously, because you don't know who that person know. They might have family like in Italy, like my show's big in Germany and Australia.
Mine's too. That's crazy.
I ain't ever set foot in Germany and Australia. I had a guest that been there, but it's big over there, and I'm like, wow, it's crazy. I'm like, I never even would think that my podcast was gonna reach other than my immediate family. Like I didn't think when I first started, and it's reaching people from different countries. So like that excites me.
Yeah, so, that's the exciting part.
But you answered two of my questions with your answer, so that's pretty cool. I was gonna say, what's the most exciting thing, and then what's also the most challenging thing? But I think you already answered the challenging part too.
Well,
or unless you got more to add to it, what's the most challenging thing about podcasting?
The most challenging thing about podcasting is actually keeping up with software, like the behind the scenes stuff. That's where it counts. Like people think being in front of the mic is the most important part. No, it's not.
That's easy.
This is the literal easiest part, only because, like you say, you can take your phone and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need equipment. So the hardest part is behind the scenes and knowing where you are with your podcast with technology. Mm-hmm. Because I'm now in the part where I'm stuck on. I'm not entry level podcaster, but I'm still doing entry level behind the scenes stuff, and I don't know how to take it to the next level because a lot of people, they're still stuck in their entry level stuff. So it's like, what's the next step? So with editing, I use Audacity. It's entry level. That's literally the most entry level shit you can fuck with. I don't know what's the next step. that I can do a smooth transition and still produce the same quality, but have enough room to learn some new tricks. I want to say it's some Adobe software. I don't know.
Yeah,
I gotta ask a million people.
I use Vegas Pro 19. I used to use Vegas Pro 18, but it's I think Sony owns it. It's really good, especially if you're into like videos and transitions and you want to throw things in, because the world is it's yours. Like you got all these other things. So that's what I use, and they have a little one for sound too. Like, and that's what I need, I think, to focus on, because sometimes I feel like I don't talk loud enough, so I got to up it up. But then I feel like when I up it up, it sounds bad. I gotta learn to mix better, I guess, more. But when it comes to the videos, I think I'm alright. I learned to add borders, and I do like these pop-up things, learn transitions, so that helps. But podcasting is a little different with transitions, because I think that's more for like guys or women that talk and they try to be funny, or they try to promote something. So like I do that more for my reviews. But the software is really something. I mean, I could teach you a little something, like we could talk a little bit off camera.
Yet. I ain't doing video yet. I got video, but I ain't messing with it yet.
When you ready to step into that realm, I got you, man. I got you.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
And don't cut this out either.
I'm not. I'm gonna let it all roll.
No, that's a running joke in my podcast. Like I tell people I'm gonna cut something out, but I never cut it out. So people are like, all right, cool. And they'll just keep talking. I'm like, I'm not cutting that out. They don't even know. It's just an inside joke. My bad. I didn't mean to catch you up in it.
No, you good. I've had people say that to me, but they meant it. Where they like, oh, can you cut that out, please, man? I don't want my my so and so watching or listening. Right. I'm like, I got you.
People know me. Leave it in. I don't care.
True that, man. So for these two questions, I love to ask every guest I have on. Just I love the different answers that I get. So one of them is, what's a hidden talent that your friends, family, or even your fans don't know about you?
Oh man, I hate these type of questions. Hidden talent.
Between that, or I would say between that, or what you gonna do in 5 years? If I want to start a job interview. Where you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, better where I'm at now.
That's actually a good question, though, that 5-year question. It makes you think about stuff. But hidden talent. Oh, okay. So I don't know why, because I guess because I fell off with it. But I'm very good with mechanics. Like I can literally take a car apart and put it back together in like a week. Yeah, I've done it like 3 times already.
Hey, I know the call now, man. If I got some car problems.
Nah, I don't work on other people's cars. Only because some people let problems linger so long that when you fix it, it automatically fucks something else up. And then you're going to come to me, yo, you broke this. Yo, I'm about to like, nah, bro. That's your trash that you've been riding around in. You need to take care of your car properly. So I don't work on people's cars because it always happens. Because they let something, like when you let certain things linger, it just messes up other things. Like I had to change my daughter's first car. I changed the brake line. It popped another brake line. Changed that. It popped another brake line. And I was like, all right, we're going to get this. You just got to get another car. Like,
when one started, like I remember my cousin, he's a mechanic. He told me, because I had this real POS 95 Nissan Ultimate. That was my first ever car. And he was telling me, I'm sorry, I don't know if you hear my niece in the background. She's crying.
You get them.
All right.
Life is life, man. Life happens on life terms. It is what it is.
True that. But he would always tell me, like, because I was under the hood more than I was behind the wheel. It was bad. And he was like, the car is like the human body. Like, you gotta treat it right, and sometimes, if you let, like, let's say your leg messed up, but you let it linger for a little, you try to go on and on, then your shoulder messed up, then you just try to go on, and then you hurt your back or something, then you're like, all right, let me fix my leg. But now you still got your shoulder and your back that's messed up. And then when you fix that, now you're like, oh, okay, now you fix that. All right, now your shoulder going intense or your back going intense. And now you're like, oh, your toes be like, oh, no, my toes hurt. No. So he's like, your car is like that too. So you might fix that Cadillac converter, but then, your fuel pump might be like, hey, man, now you fix that. Why don't you come, work me? I was working extra hard trying to get this, through.
Right.
Or you fix your O2 sensor or I'm just naming anything right now for car that I can think of.
I thought that's what you were actually fixing.
Well, I mean, I've had those things fixed. I can remember I had camshaft sensors, crankshaft sensors, oh man, all types of stuff. But I remember my intake thing was messed up. I mean, it was a bunch of different problems, and he was like, every time you fix one, because how long the car was just so beat up. Now it's like, oh wait, well, you fix that? Might as well come do this and do this because they all want to work together.
Right.
Yep.
I think that was real experience because you was naming very, very specific things.
Oh yeah, man! I could do a whole episode on just that car that I had, my first car. It was bad, but shout out to damn, I was gonna say shout out to the girl who sold it to me. We ended up being really good friends afterwards, but she knew what she was doing.
Shout out to the Ultima.
Yeah,
that was a character builder right there.
For real. Because before, when I brought her, all I knew was how to drive. I didn't really know much anything else. That taught me everything. Yeah, I let it go. Now I got a Honda. I'm cool.
Good.
Well, my next question. My bad. I just like talking, and sometimes
we podcasters. I honestly, low key, I hate talking to podcasters. We don't never know when to shut the hell up.
For real. and I've been on this this last month. I've really been having a lot of different podcasters on. So some of my audience that are used to just me interviewing, like, people that like, damn, Alvin, get to the point. Y'all going off topic. It's like I get people messaging me. I'm like, well, my bad, man, because there's something that you can grab from it, and we're just used to talking.
Yeah, we talk for a living. Well, we're trying to talk for a living. Let's say that.
Yeah. But my next question.
I'm gonna say trying.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite like quotes or maybe sayings that were just instilled in your head that you lean on during the good times or the bad times?
Well, I'm gonna go with the first quote that popped in my head when you asked. Chance is for the prepared mind.
I like that. Chance is for the prepared mind.
Yeah, because if you got a chance but you're not prepared for it, you're gonna drop the ball. You ain't gonna be able to take advantage of it.
Like that. That's what's up. That's a good one right there. So now, those are my two questions I normally always ask, but I just got a couple more questions I ask before we wrap up. So when it comes to love in general, or I should say black love, but love in general, what do you feel is like the most misleading thing or myth that you feel is killing couples?
That is easy and it's all rainbows, sunshines, and dolphins. Like, no, love is hard. Love, and this, I got this from a couple and I love it. It was I don't remember who, but it was one of the wives, and she was like, because I always ask, what does love mean to you? That's literally the last question for the couple. And she said, love is an action word. It has to be done every day. Like, it's something you have to do intentionally every day. You can't be passive with love. There's no passive period with love. Something that has to be intentionally done every day to your significant other. And I think that's misleading. I think people just get together and think, oh, we got a vibe. We can finish each other's sentences. And it's like, yeah, it's good when it's good, but nobody counts for the bad days. That's when love counts. Yep. Love doesn't matter about love when y'all getting along, y'all holding hands and y'all cuddled up for movie night or it's date night and everything going good. That's not love. Love is when you can't stand that motherfucker. Like, if they cough wrong, you ready to call it quits. That's when love counts.
I see why mine's only lasts about 3 months. Oh man, That's so true though, man. That's some real talk right there. I was gonna actually my last question I'm gonna ask you before I ask you like social medias and stuff and shout outs, but what does love mean to you, especially with all the experience you've had from different guests and learning about it as you continue to go on this journey?
I change the answer every time. So if you go back to the podcast, because usually some people throw it back to me and I'll answer it, but when I do answer it, I always give a different answer because it's love is very nuanced. It's like it doesn't just, it's not one way to experience love. So for me, I'm not in a relationship, so I got to look at it. Sometimes I'm looking at it from the outside, and sometimes I'm looking at it as how do I love like my daughters, or how do I love my brothers, my parents, family members, long-term friends, and I think if I focus on how I love them, it's a transferable skill to loving a significant other. In my case, a woman. I know it has nothing to do with anything. I'm just put that out there just in case, y'all want to hit the DMs and shit. You know what I mean? But if I focus on properly having these relationships, it's a transferable skill directly to them because now I can learn different communication styles. So now when she comes in the picture, I can readily identify her communication style. Now we got our communication going. It's flowing. Now I can understand, because I've paid attention to all these other ones. Because even though, like you said earlier, you learn a lot from children. They're having their own communication style, even though you're teaching them one. They still have their own because they have an understanding of the world from their eyes. Even though, my youngest is 15, my oldest is 21. I'm an old head. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Well, I started at 17 anyway, so y'all could have did the math earlier on.
Got that experience.
Right. Right. So even my 15-year-old is giving me input about communication styles. Like she's experiencing the world through her eyes in this time. I've experienced the world differently from her. So, she's learning her own way to communicate, and that's teaching me a whole new way to communicate. Because quick story with her. So at the age of when she was supposed to talk, she didn't talk. Like she literally didn't speak, but can communicate her ass off. Like she can literally tell you what she wanted without saying a word. And she went through that for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Pissed me off. And then when she started talking, she never shut up. And I was like, damn, I shouldn't have pushed for her to start talking.
It's the little things we forget that we miss until it's too late.
Right. So even with that, even at her being 2-3 years old, and it wasn't nothing like mentally wrong with her, she just didn't want to do it. Like she just didn't want to talk. Like I've heard her speak in that time period. I've heard her talk before. She just didn't like to do it. And I was like, well, I can't be mad at you. But she taught me to focus on non-verbal stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, damn, I think I went off on a tangent, but I still think I'm still on topic. I don't know.
You're still on topic. I mean, that.
All right. I just want to make sure because I'll go on tangents like it's nothing.
It's all good though. He's talking real stuff though. I think that's people.
Oh, all right.
Definitely gonna generate to that because I got a 2-year-old niece that she's like a daughter niece and she lives with me. And she don't communicate well. I've heard her talk, like you said. I've heard her talk, but with me not. She'll rather point or do point. She does the pointing thing, or there's certain thing I can tell, like movement she do when she wants something, or if I turn from one of her favorite shows, Bubble Guppies. Shout out to y'all if y'all see this somehow. y'all keep my niece happy. But it's crazy. It's really crazy, and I'm hoping that soon. I was like, man, I hope she just start talking to me more and not just to my other family members or to her mom or whatever. But now I have to hear what you said. Now I'm like, maybe I should just chill.
Ride it out. I'm telling you, ride it out.
She seemed like the type who's gonna give me a bunch of why questions. Why? Why? Why is your remote black? Why is your phone not lighting up? Why are you drinking that coffee? Like I feel she's gonna be like that.
Yeah. Ride it out, dude. Ride it out.
I definitely will, man. Where can all my peeps and new listeners or viewers find you on social media and your show?
All right. So me on Instagram, I'm handsome guy named William. You can find me there on Instagram. Black Love Renaissance Podcast on Instagram. The podcast has a Facebook page. I don't really be on Facebook like that. I'm in and I'm out. Like, so I don't think you really should follow me on Facebook. But if you want to, it's William Bailey. Yeah, that's pretty much all the social media stuff I do. It's that simple.
I'll make sure I put that in there. And is there anyone that you want to shout out before we wrap up here? And we're just always supporting you, or people you want to just give thanks?
Shout out to the Black Podcast Club. Shout out Blake. Shout out Scorpion November. Shout out the Great Walk. Sade Red. Trying to think who else I vibe with like that. Yeah, let's stick with them right now. Somebody can be mad I ain't shout them out, but yeah, we'll deal with it in the group chat. It's cool.
From my experience, I always learned it's best to say, "Come on, forget somebody." So from A to Z, I love y'all.
Well, I started out with the Black Podcast Club, so that encompassed everybody in the club. It just when you say somebody specific, I just wanted to say they're the ones that's been very influential on my podcast journey, like each of them individually. So I feel like they deserve their own special shout outs. Oh, and my daughters too for the, Yeah,
definitely got to mention
inspiration.
them.
Yeah, for the inspiration. I ain't gonna say their names because
gotcha,
weirdos out here.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Well, I thank you again, Will, for being a part of the People's Choice Podcast community. And I can't wait for this to come out and for everyone to check out your show as well, Black Loves Renaissance. And I mean, some great conversations in there. Still got a couple episodes I'm about to finish up pretty soon as I let this render off and then do my editing settings. Tell you, man, when you're ready for them videos, man, I'll let you know what I watch and how I do things. I got you.
No doubt. I appreciate it. And we got that on record twice. So
yeah. So, hey. Thanks again, Will. You have a good one, brother.
All right, you too.